And then if it's a civil case, then it's damages. You have to pay for the harm. You have to pay for the damages. One way of doing that is to calculate how much damage it costs, and you pay for that. Sometimes the law specifies how much you have to pay, but it usually doesn't end that way, because you also cost a lot of emotional harm and suffering, so you have to pay for that also. Even if you haven't cost that much, but the court learned that you actually been doing this for several years, and you're actually been telling young doctors to also do it. As far as the society, some sense of morality and ethics, and the spirit of the law is concerned, it's terrible. Then they'll want to punish you. So there's a punitive damages. You're going to be made to pay much more than all the damages you've caused, just to make sure that you don't do it again. That's the same case as the pharmaceutical firms. They have done something terrible all throughout the decades. And of course, anything that involves a lot of billions of dollars, people working inside, and the idea is to earn more. Of course, that's not what they tell everyone. Bad things are bound to happen, and you have well-known court cases amounting to billions of dollars that they lost. Of course, you don't hear the medical representative go around the clinics telling them about those things. In some countries, they don't have the periodicals or the journals to inform them that those things happen. Or if it's so corrupt, you hear about it and you don't pay attention to it because you yourself are doing corrupt practices. Anyway, in those cases, some of them were made to pay hundreds of millions of dollars or a few billions worth, but the company itself, or the amount of stuff they're making, is much more than that. So that's not going to stop them from doing it again, right? What that will do is they're going to come up with several ways so that it doesn't happen again while they're still doing it. So that's the idea behind punitive damages. So it has to be so high that you'll think twice about doing it again. So that's the damage based on what you actually caused, mostly the physical damage, the physical harm, to kind of compute it. You feel like an economist is computing the cost of everything. Or you can add in general damages, like, add in suffering and emotional distress and emotional harm and things like that. Or in some cases, you can have the punitive damages, make it even higher so that this idiot doesn't do it again. Okay, and then maybe push the case towards the administrative stuff. So maybe this person shouldn't have a license. That would be a terrible punitive damage, right? So anyway, but that's the punitive damage. There's three kinds of damages that you might end up paying for. Now, of course, if it's a criminal act, so criminal act usually means something terrible. It's actually in the law that you shouldn't be doing it, like something that ends with a very severe disability, sort of caused death or a hastening of death. Now assisted suicide would be one of those cases. It's not legal in most places. Now, in places you don't even have laws on advance directives, so you just have to be careful. You don't do that, make the patient sign an advance directive form coming from the United States, where things are fairly legal and they have laws to support it, and not follow the next of kin. If you don't have a law about advance directives, then that paper is just informative. If you did it well. Now, if you have a law and you fudge it, it's just for the sake of them signing it, and say or do whatever it takes for them to sign it, so that you can get them out of the way. That's an invalid consent. That's like at least 3 to 4 cases against you, right? Now, if it ends in death or hastening of death or something really severe, and it goes against the ethical values or the moral norms of the community, then you can end up in jail. Civil cases end up with damages. Criminal cases, as defined by law, ends up in jail time. They can even be put to death if the death sentence is legal. Of course, that involves really bad cases, like death would be one. And I don't think corruption ends in death sentence. I guess it's life imprisonment in some countries, but you have to be really corrupt. Anyway, those are like the general court cases. involving informed consents and informed decision making.